Hello guys, welcome. And if you see, this is my new channel in YouTube, and in this channel you can expect the contents like the study videos of biology or contents of 11th and 12th CBSE, as well as I can also post videos for 10th standard science students. And if you want any guide or any teaching material for NEET, that also I can give for you. And now let's get started with the 11th standard first chapter in biology, the living world. The living world. Now you can have a what do you guys think about living? 1 minute. And guys, and one important point in this, there's like the underlying points in this material that you sorry. 1 minute. See, the underlying materials, the things that I have underlined here are like the important points that I have underlined for both board as well as for NEET. Okay, so if you want, you can also underline the important points in your NCERT. This is purely an NCERT content, and as well as in this video you can expect like the revised content of this chapter. I will be just revising it, and the important points I will be saying to you. I will not be teaching like the whole thing for you. Okay, now let's move into it. First paragraph, I see it's just like it's the basic introduction, like what is living, and what is that is the day-to-day process that happens in our life. Those things are given. Okay, now next question that comes is that what is living? What do you guys think about living? So you please comment in it. Okay, so one can add a few more features like metabolism, ability to self replicate, and see metabolism, ability to self replicate, self organize, interact, and emerge to its list. Let us try to understand each of them. These are the processes that makes an organism living: growth, reproduction, ability to sense the environment, and amount of suitable response comes to our mind immediately. Our quick features of living organism are the unique features of living organism. Okay, that also you can underline: growth, reproduction, ability to sense the environment, and suitable response comes to our mind. That is the in when we are getting a stimulus, what response that we are giving to it. That also are the features which are unique to living organism. Okay, self replicate, self organize, and interact, and emergence and metabolism. Okay, all living organism grow. This is naturally everyone knows it. All living organism grow. Growth means what? Increase in mass and increase in number of individuals are the twin characteristics of growth. This is a very important point for NEET. Okay, increase in mass as well as increase in number. Okay, increase in weight. Okay, that is mass, as well as increase in number or size is said to be the twin characteristics of growth. Next, if we see in plants, the growth is by cell division, occurs continuously throughout their lifespan. Okay, growth is in plants, it is seen continuously throughout their lifespan. Okay, continuous throughout, sorry, continuous throughout their lifespan. 1 minute. Okay, in plants, the growth is by cell division, that everyone knows, and it is continuous throughout their lifespan. Continues throughout their lifespan. This is important. And in animals, the growth is seen only up to a certain age. Okay, certain age. This everyone knows. See, if maximum for children, they will be growing. That is, the adolescents will be growing. In case of boys, like for maximum to age of 20, and for girls, it will be like 16, 15 to 16, like that. For animals, this is a certain age that they can grow. But for in case of plants, they grow continuously throughout their lifespan. Okay. Next, in unicellular organism, grow by cell division. Okay, unicellular organism grow by cell division. That is the point. Next, One can easily observe this in an in vitro culture. In vitro means that is an artificial one. Okay, vitro means taking place inside the body. In vitro means taking place in the laboratory. Okay, this can be seen, and the number of cells under the microscope, we can see under the microscope like how the cells are getting divided. Okay, in majority of higher animals and plants, growth and reproduction are mutually exclusive events. Okay, in higher plants and animals, the growth and reproduction are mutually an exclusive event. Okay, most of them remember that increase in mass is considered as growth. Okay, but in case of the non-living organism, mass is as an criteria for growth. There is an increase in mass. Okay, so see, in case of the mountains, on the like they the sand or the stones get deposited. When it gets deposited, the body mass increases. So so it may we can't say that the mountain is growing or hills are growing. That's not possible because they are not a living organism. So we can't consider that increase in body mass as the criteria. Okay. Criteria for growth. Okay, however, this kind of growth exhibit by non-living organism is by accumulation of materials on the surface. In living organism, growth is from inside. This is very important. In living organism, growth is from inside. Non-living organism, growth is from outside. Okay, yeah. Next, growth therefore cannot be considered as a not defining property of living organism. Growth can't be considered as not defining property of living organism. So, in this point, what we have understood that a growth, what is growth? The twin characteristic of growth is increase in mass and increase in number is the twin characteristic of growth. In plants, the growth is continuous throughout their lifespan, and in case of animals, it is only to a certain age, and in case of unicellular organism, they take their growth by through cell division, and it can be clearly seen in vitro cultures. And the majority of the higher plants and animals, the growth and reproduction are mutually and exclusive events. Okay, next, increase in body mass is not considered as the criteria for growth, because in case of the non-living organisms like mountain hills, on the accumulation takes place from outside, so because of which the body mass increases. So we can't say that it is living organism which undergoes growth. So growth in living organism is from inside, and growth in non-living organism is from outside. So growth is not to be a criteria for living organism, not a defining property for living organism. Okay. Now the second property is reproduction. Okay, reproduction is likewise a characteristic of living organism. Okay. Reproduction in multicellular organism, reproduction is refers to the process of progeny processing feature more or less similar to those of parents. Progeny processing feature, okay, more or less similar to those of parents. Invariably and implicity were referred to sexual reproduction. Okay, invariability and implicity. What is invariably? That is on the progeny. In case of sexual reproduction, the progeny doesn't 100% resemble their parents, where in case of asexual reproduction. Okay, and implicity is refers to as the sexual reproduction. Organism reproduced by asexual means also. Okay, in case of eastern hydra, they do budding. Everyone knows what is budding, right? We have learned in 6th standard itself. And in case of planaria, it is said to be the flatworm. It is by true regeneration, that is fragmentation. That is, if you see 1 minute, 1 minute, guys. Reproduction. Now we will continue from reproduction. Reproduction is refers to as the process of producing progeny processing feature more or less similar to those of in the parents. Okay. Progeny possessing feature more or less similar to those of parents. Invariably and implicity are referred to as the sexual reproduction. Okay, yeah. Next, in case of on the eastern hydra, everyone knows that this budding takes place. See, what is budding? Produce a bud, and this bud gets detached, and when it is false and it forms a new bud. Okay, this is said to be budding. It takes place in eastern hydra. And in case of the planaria, planaria is a flatworm. Here true regeneration or fragmentation takes place, that is, the body parts get divided into fragments, and these fragments each gets developed into each new living organism. Okay, this is in case of on the planaria. And And in fungi, filamentous algae, the protonymomorphosis, easy multiplication is by fragmentation. In case of the fungi, filamentous algae and protonymomorphosis, three things: fungi, filamentous algae, and protonymomorphosis is by fragmentation. In case of unicellular organisms like bacteria, unicellular algae, or amoeba, reproduction is synonymous with growth. That only we have seen in the last criteria, that is growth. See, here this is amoeba, right? This amoeba, when it undergoes reproduction, it gets divided into two cells. Okay, two cells means one, here two. So increase in number. If the number increases, it is said to be growth. And here, as well as the parent body is being divided into two, it is also said to be reproduction. So growth as well as reproduction takes place. So this is said to be synonymous. Okay. Now increase in number of cells. Okay, next, further there are many organisms which do not reproduce. See, do not reproduce, that is mule, sterile worker honeybees, infertile human couples, etc. See, mules means what? That is a horse into donkey, that is mule. Okay, it can't reproduce. Okay, sterile worker honeybees, that everyone know, that is the worker honeybees. In case of the females, that is they can't undergo reproduction. And in case of infertile human couples, these all peoples who cannot do reproduction. Okay, this is the characteristic of reproduction. In reproduction, what we have seen, when the progeny possessing feature invariably in implicity of sexual is referred to as sexual reproduction. And in case of hydra and yeast, it is by budding. And in case of planaria, it is by fragmentation. In fungi, filamentous algae, and protonymomorphosis, it is like multiplied by fragmentation. And unicellular organisms like unicellular algae or amoeba, synonymous with growth, that is the reproduction. And do not reproduce are mules, sterile worker honeybees, and infertile human couples. These are things that we have seen in the second criteria, that is the reproduction. Okay, now the third important criteria is metabolism. Metabolism. All living organisms are made up of chemicals, that everyone knows. Okay, all living organisms are made up of chemicals. Okay, made up of chemicals, are constantly being made and changed into some of the biomolecules. Okay, there are thousands of metabolic reactions occurring simultaneously inside the living organism. Occurring simultaneously, this is very important. Okay, they occur simultaneously. In case of the unicellular be they unicellular or multicellular. Okay, all plants, animals, fungi, and microorganisms exhibit metabolism. The sum total of all chemical reactions that occur in our body is said to be metabolism. Okay, this is very important line, everyone noted. Sum total of all chemical reactions. See, in case of one digestion, that is the glucose is getting broken down. Okay, sorry, in case of respiration, the glucose is getting broken down. And in case of the digestion, this the what we say, that is from carbohydrates we get glucose, and in case of respiration, from glucose we get the energy. So there are millions of like not millions or thousands of metabolic reaction that takes place inside a body, sorry, chemical reaction that takes place inside a body, and these chemical reactions are together called as metabolism. Okay, an isolated metabolic reaction outside the body of the organism. Isolated metabolic reaction, that is outside the body of the organism, that is when it takes place in the laboratory condition performed in a test tube, is neither living nor non-living. Okay, when it takes place inside the living organism, that is the chemical reaction or the metabolism that takes place inside the living organism, then it's said to be living. When it takes place, that is in a in vitro condition, it is neither living, the reaction is neither living nor non-living. Okay, this is very important. 1 minute. Okay, next, in vitro or not living things but surely a living reaction. Here what we, hence while metabolism is a defining feature of all living organisms without exception, isolated metabolic reaction in vitro condition are not living things but surely a living reaction. That is it is not living thing, that is the product or the reactants that we get it or we input it are not a living thing, but the reaction is surely a living reaction. That is the important point. This point is very much important, and hence the cellular organization of the body is the defining feature of the life form. Cellular organization, technically complicated features of all living organisms. The ability to sense their surrounding or environment and respond to these environmental stimuli, which could be even the physical, chemical, or biological. Ability to sense the surrounding is said to be consciousness. Consciousness is very what to say, is technically complicated feature of living organism. That is the one that I want to say. And this is the ability to sense the environment or the surrounding and respond to the environmental stimuli, which could be either physical, chemical, or biological. Okay, photoperiod effects reproduction in seasonal breeders, both plants and animals. See, this is the photoperiod effect that we have to note it here. And all living organisms handle chemicals entering their body. Living organisms handle their chemicals that enter their body. All organisms therefore are aware of their surrounding. Human beings are the only organism who are aware of himself. Okay, that is the self consciousness. Consciousness therefore behind the defining property of the living organism. Okay, we observe patients lying in coma in hospitals virtually supported by machines which replace their heart and lungs. The patient otherwise is brain dead. Okay, the patient is is not said to be on the self consciousness. See, in case of on the coma, that is the patients who are coma in hospitals, they are not said to be on the self consciousness. They have self consciousness, but their brain is dead. That is the condition that we want to say there. Okay, that is the perfect medical term we can say there. Living phenomena are due to underlying reactions. Property of the tissues are not present in the constituent cells but arise as a result of interaction among the constituent cells. Similarly, the property of the cellular organelles are not present in the molecular constituent of the organelle but arise as a result of interaction among the molecular components comprising the organelle. Okay, 1 minute. See, living phenomena are due to underlying reactions, underlying interactions. Okay, sorry. See, the properties of tissue is because of interaction among the constituent cells. Okay. In the similar way, the properties of the cellular organelles is because of the interaction among the molecular components comprising the organelle. Okay. Tissue means property of tissue is because of the interaction of the constituent cells. Okay. In the same way, for the properties of what? In the same way, properties of cell organelles is because of interaction between the interaction of molecular components. Okay. So this is the thing that we want to see here, and therefore we can say that the living organisms are self-replicating, evolving, and self-regulating interactive systems capable of responding to the external stimuli. This is highly important. Self-replicating, that is what? Reproduction, evolving, and self-regulating interactive systems that is the one that I have explained now, are capable for responding to the external stimuli. Consciousness, these are the very much important features that the living organism possess. Self-replicating, evolving, self-regulating interactive systems, and responding to the external stimuli. Biology is the story of life on earth, and biology is the story of evolution of living organisms on earth. This is the definition for biology. All living organisms, present, past, and future, are linked to one another by the sharing of the common genetic material, but to varying degrees. They have a common genetic material, but they vary to a degree. If you see in case of monkey and humans, they have 99% same genetic material, but there is a 1% that differentiate us from the monkeys. Okay, this is the first topic in the living organism. So hope you like this video. If you like it, please do comment, share, and like it to the video. Okay, thank you.